Hello, church people. It's Brother Bo from the Office of the Pastor with a daily devotional thought for this Thursday. I asked the family this morning, I said, do you know what today is? Which Thursday? Yes, it is. I think as far as the Holy Week goes, it's what we call Maundy Thursday. I always thought that, I've never have really understood what the word Maundy means. If you know, you can tell me. But I know that this is the day when Jesus spent his last supper was on this night. This is the last day that Jesus spent with his disciples as a group on this earth. And I want you to put yourself in the mind of that as I read. I'm going to read from John chapter 13. And this is that night. It doesn't talk about, in John he doesn't talk about necessarily the breaking of the bread and the drinking of the wine. He highlights something else here. But John chapter 13 verse 1 says, "It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them till the end." This is where his mind's at. It's the last night he really gets to spend and really instruct these men before he's crucified on the cross. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. In this time, when you went to somebody's house as a guest, they would have a servant there to wash your feet. That was the servant's job. I mean, you're walking around in sandals most of the time. There are no paved roads, so you're dirty. And when they sat at table, they reclined. They were on the ground. They didn't sit in chairs like we do. They were lying on the ground at a low table. And so you wanted your feet to be clean because your feet's going to be close to somebody else. But that was just one of the things of respect or welcoming somebody into your home. Is there was somebody there to wash your feet? And normally in a better home, it was a servant who was washing the feet. So here it is, Jesus, their rabbi, their teacher, their master, all these things that they call him. And on his last night, as he's loving them to the last, loving them till the end, as it says in verse 1, he takes the time to teach them one more thing. And I was thinking about this this morning as I've gone through. How important is this? That, it shows me how important it is. This is one of the last things that Jesus teaches these disciples of his, these men that have walked with him, that he has loved and that love him. And one of the last examples he can show them, this is it. And it put me in the mind of, if I knew I had one more day to try to get something across to my family, if I knew I had one more day to talk to those that I love and to share in this world, what am I going to want to tell them? What am I going to want to say? It's a mind game that we play, this what if game that we play with ourselves a lot, I think. At least I do. Well, what if I won $1 million? That would be great. What if I have one day left? What would I say? What would I do? Jesus took this time to go, okay, I'm going to teach them this. So in verse 6, as he's washing their things, he came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Peter was not one to go halfway. He couldn't conceive of Jesus serving him like this. And it wasn't that he just was adamant about it. You have to think, this is the amount of respect and love that Peter has for Jesus. And he's just flabbergasted. He can't understand this, and he doesn't understand at this point. And even though he doesn't understand, when Jesus explains, if you want to have a part with me, this is what we're going to do. He's like, well, then I want everything. I want more. That's a wonderful attitude to have. We kind of get on Peter about this, but it's a wonderful attitude that he has. But Jesus is trying to teach, and in this thing he has to calm them down a little bit. Verse 10, Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew he was going to betray him. And that was why he said not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly, I tell you, servants are not greater than the master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. He's telling them, serve each other, love each other. Don't put yourself above each other, or anyone else for that matter. The last night that he had to spend on this earth with these disciples, and he taught them about servanthood. He taught them about love, and he taught them about putting others before themselves as far as that love goes. It's an amazing thing. It's a wonderful thing. As you go through this day, remember to love others, obviously, but to serve others and to have that servant's heart that Jesus gave us an example of on the last night that he had to spend with those disciples, and how important he thought that was. Also, tonight, this is where they would have the Last Supper, where he broke the bread and they drank the wine. This is where the sacrament comes from. If you don't have grape juice in your house, I would encourage you. Water will work. But commemorate that. I know we can't be together in this time. This is normally we would probably have a service tonight, a time of communion, and then probably also a foot washing, to commemorate this and to remember this, to as Jesus said, do this in remembrance of me. But you can do that with your family. You can do that right there at home. You can do that because that's between you and God. That is a special thing as we remember what Jesus did for us. And Maundy Thursday is the last night he spent on earth. You can read John chapter 13, and it just goes through that night. Love you guys. Hope I can serve you in some way. If I can, let me know. Of course, send me a text message, send me a message, give me a phone call. Y'all know how to get a hold of me. Love you guys. We'll see you.